I've got a weekly newsletter going out once a week and it's doing great. Let's read this Reddit post together and then perhaps give my commentary on what I think. Someone says on Reddit, I've got a weekly newsletter going out once a week on LinkedIn and it's doing great. Should or could I do it twice a week? I don't want to muddy the waters, but I certainly have enough to do twice a week. I normally post content 3 to 5 times a week too. I'd love some thoughts from those who have been or are currently successful with newsletters. Now, let me tell you what I think about newsletters on LinkedIn and whether I think they're helpful or not. Uh, LinkedIn newsletter or newsletters is one of the most undervalued features this platform has. When you post a LinkedIn newsletter, it's the only way that you can hit your audience's email inboxes. Because if that person who subscribed to your newsletter didn't subscribe to tens of other LinkedIn newsletters, then LinkedIn will send them a notification telling them that XYZ has posted a new article in the newsletter that you're subscribed to. So if I want to actually reach the inboxes or the email inboxes of my audiences on LinkedIn, the only way and the best way to do that would be to actually create a newsletter on LinkedIn and then post consistently, whether weekly, monthly, twice a week, it doesn't matter. Once a day, you could do it once a day to answer this specific question. And so that's what I think about LinkedIn newsletters, and they're very impactful. What I do with my team at Exceed Digital's Canadian LinkedIn agency, what we do is we actually create a newsletter for every single client that we work with. Like it's part of the plan. We create a newsletter for you because this is if you actually want to build a community on LinkedIn that are not just followers who may see your content and may not see your content, I'd recommend you do a LinkedIn newsletter. You create a LinkedIn newsletter. Now, to answer this specific question, which is, do I post daily or do I post weekly or do I post twice a week? It really depends on your availability. Doing it once a day is something that some people do. Now, would I do once a day? I would not. Why? Because I don't want to appear, I don't want to bombard my subscribers with emails. However, some other schools, let's say, of marketing suggest that landing on your audience's email inboxes once per day is fine, as long as they are the ones who subscribed to your newsletter. You're not cold emailing, you didn't force these emails to come to their inboxes. However, I would personally not do that. I would do twice a week. If I have availability to actually come up with with articles for my LinkedIn newsletter, I would definitely do twice a week. But that would be the max. Uh, but you can do once a day, you can do once a week. Some newsletters that I follow actually post an article every month. There's something that I want to mention that wasn't mentioned here, which is just a comment on their sentence. My newsletter is doing great. Now, as a comment or as a response, someone asks them, define great. He didn't answer or she didn't answer. I'm going to tell you what I think a great newsletter is, because I think this might help you guys if you've never created a LinkedIn newsletter or you want to start your LinkedIn newsletter. A great LinkedIn article, I should say, not newsletter, because newsletter is a series of articles. A great LinkedIn article would be an article that's written in a form of a long LinkedIn post, not a form of a detailed blog post. So, excuse me. So, if I am writing a LinkedIn article, I would look at it as, okay, is this skimmable? Is it written like a long LinkedIn post? Does it follow short sentences, empty lines to make it easier to read and to consume? Some LinkedIn articles actually do well. Now, there's another tip that I'm gonna give like my random thoughts of tips. Another tip would be when you create your article, just go to the settings of this article and set up the SEO settings. Because if you don't set up the SEO settings, your article will not appear on Google search results. If you actually set them up properly when you're creating an article and writing it, there's something called manage. You hit manage and then settings and then SEO. If you don't do this, your article is only going to be on LinkedIn. And what you want is you want to maximize the benefit of the article that you came up with. And so just set up your SEO settings and then Your article is going to be appearing on Google. Another tip I would give is uh, have an interesting name. Actually, spend some time naming your newsletter, because the more generic it is, the less subscribers you're going to get. And the name is the only thing that people would see before hitting subscribe. And so, if your name is clever, is creative, if your name sounds interesting to your audience, you're going to get more subscribers. If your name sounds boring, it means your articles are most probably going to be boring. And so just think it like spend some time naming your LinkedIn news letter. A fourth tip I would have, which is enrich your article with external links, with tables if available, with YouTube videos if available. Like make it enriched. Yes, you're writing it in a style of a long LinkedIn post, but you can enrich it with resources so that it doesn't feel like I'm just reading your thoughts. No, I'm actually reading your thoughts, but I'm also getting exposed to interesting information, interesting resources, interesting citations, interesting links, interesting videos, appealing videos. And so I feel enriched by actually spending my time or the next 5 minutes reading and consuming your LinkedIn article. If you're new to this channel, what I do is I actually read people's posts on Reddit about LinkedIn and then perhaps give my commentary on what I think. So subscribe to this channel if you want to see future videos similar to that. Thank you guys and see you in future videos.